professor is often a person who feels great passion for the material, great enthusiasm about it, and great interest in it, and is not afraid to show that enthusiasm very openly, even if the students roll their eyes or look like, here he goes again. Students can be ignited by the energy and love of learning of a teacher.
My responsibility as a professor to give a student in any given class session something that he or she didn't have when she walked in that door. So if you've done all the readings, terrific. Now we'll go with that. But you're paying a heck of a lot of money to go to school here, and you really should get something for your money other than just processing the readings.
I think of really good teaching as having certain components to it. And one is the faculty member's relationship with the student. And I have always been a follower of like Nell Nodding's research, which focuses on receiving and acknowledging a student completely, so that when they're in class and they're taking a risk, or they're raising their hand to respond to something, or they're sharing an idea, that the faculty member has to really make sure they're well received. Whether the response is accurate or not, or whether it's on point or not, they're taking that risk, and it's developing a sense of trust with the person who's leading the course.
I think a great professor inspires you to think, inspires you to think deeply, to work hard, to know that learning is not easy. I think a great professor somehow pushes you to want to do your best.
My goal with students is to have them see things that they may have seen all their life, but to see with new eyes. Their families, their communities, themselves.
I think really good teaching, great teaching in higher education looks like a huge discussion, a Talmudic discussion, with everybody sort of disagreeing and asking one another questions and asking the professor questions, and the professor sort of sitting back. I love it when I'm sitting back and watching a discussion unfold in front of me among my students. I think that's evidence of great teaching.
The best teaching, if it's possible, is to have some kind of back and forth between students and each other and the faculty member.
The trick is, well, how do you engage students in things, materials, readings, other kinds of experiences. It can be travel, study trips, all kinds of things, movies. What are the set of things you bring to bear to help them begin to sort of shift their perceptions and views of themselves and their environment, so that they see both with more depth?
I think are challenging learners beyond what they ever imagined they could do. So people feeling that they have an aversion to something, that they have a phobia about a particular concept or body of knowledge, and the role of the faculty member is to really contradict that, to put something in place so that they can experience their own achievement.
I'm trying to get them to see how those beliefs either match or don't match empirical research results, and where they don't match, I'm trying to also move them towards maybe moving beyond their preconceptions, getting them to be more critically aware of how they need to change the way they think about certain things.
To take the lead on discussion of a certain part of the reading, that they do a little presentation, that they meet with a peer and discuss something together and then present the outcomes. so that it's not passive for them at all times.
Activities that bring outside sources in and have students talk about, engage with that new material. Also, I've had students report about cutting-edge research, find cutting-edge research, report about it, and then students respond to that research and also to the student who's presenting it, asking questions and such.
Another activity might be, assembling students in small groups and helping them to build on each other's knowledge. Because I really do believe in that. I believe in kind of social construction of knowledge. And it doesn't mean the instructor doesn't have a role. I mean, I think the instructor is the expert, but at the same time, she's not the only expert in the room.
I think you want to assess a student in multiple ways. You want to have multiple data points, and you don't want all of the data to be of the same kind. So yes, you have written assignments, but maybe different kinds of written assignments, some short, some long, maybe some that are done in class, so you can actually see how someone's working on something.
If it is successful, I think it helps to generate those intellectual habits that you use for everything beyond college, to think through things.
I think the faculty here is incredibly caring. I think they go out of their way more than other schools to take in the lost sheep kind of thing, that, to harass somebody at the second week because they didn't show up for class, and say, where are you? It matters you're not here. There is a culture here that at least says we expect you to come to class, and I'm not sure that's the case everywhere.
I think that one key element to excellent teaching is the creation of an intellectual community in a class, and so how that's achieved in different ways. Excellent community in a large, lecture, a community of learners in a small seminar. That's a real goal, at least in my teaching. I've never taught in a large lecture hall, but certainly trying to create a community of learners is a goal for me.
It's paying attention very carefully to how people take in information. So really zeroing in on the learners again, and really noting whether you're the kind of person who takes in information in a visual way, in an auditory way, if you like to be more physically engaged with materials or resources. So it's paying attention to that, and then as the teacher, the activities or learning experiences have to provide such a wide variety of different ways for learners to take in information.
You hope your students are bringing some energy to the course, but I also think a really good professor's got to be the flywheel. They've got to kickstart that energy. You've got to bring in some oomph to the course.
So the teacher's job is, in a way, to carry the enthusiasm and the depth that is possible with the material, and yet to remain awake and aware of how students are responding to it, and to be able to perceive. There's a certain amount of empathy involved, to perceive what students will find difficult or off-putting or not immediately attractive. So that there has to be some kind of mastery of making complicated subject matter accessible.
An important part of teaching was entertainment. And I didn't get it at the time. I didn't know what he meant. And, he wasn't talking about, ha-ha, aren't I funny? But he was talking about a performance in a way. To really think about the whole package of content, delivery, tone, pacing, and, many of the elements. I'm not a theater expert, but I think some of the elements of theater.